Today's meeting of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management is being held in public session in its entirety. At this point, I would ask the Board Secretary to advise those present of the composition of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, and any Commissioner recusals on the items before the Committee at today's meeting.
Thanks. The committee is composed of yourself as chair, Commissioner O'Toole as vice chair, and Commissioners LaBarbera, Pacino, and Rosada as members. All committee members are present. There are no requests for action, and therefore no recusals required.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. I will now call on our Chief Development Officer, Derek Utter, to present Port Authority's capital performance results for the first quarter of 2018. Derek, where are you?
Right here.
Oh,
So,
okay.
thank you, Vice Chairman, and
Thank you.
good afternoon, Commissioners. So I want to give a brief update on the first quarter capital performance. As you know, we have a $32 billion capital plan that will cover 10 years starting last year, 2017 through 2026. So last year was our first full year of the capital plan. We've just concluded the first quarter of the second year. We expect to spend, let's see, advance to the first slide. We expect to spend about $3.4 billion out of our capital plan this year. In the first quarter, we spent $588 million, which was 91% of the plan for the first quarter. We have about 500 active projects. And as you remember, the capital plan has a lot of small projects in it, in addition to the big headline projects everyone knows about. So the median size of our projects is $10 million. We also have several milestone dates that we focus on, primarily the contract award date and the construction completion date. So contract award is the date when we finish the planning phase of the project, and construction completion obviously was when the project goes into beneficial use. Over the course of 2018, we have 129 milestone dates in those two categories. And in the first quarter, we had 16 milestones. All of those were achieved, plus we achieved 3 additional milestones that are planned for later this year. So we achieved 19 milestones out of 16 planned. So that's good. 8 projects went into beneficial use. The most significant one was the new LaGuardia Terminal B parking garage, and I'll talk about a few of the others in a moment. The impact of our capital plan is that we created 5,000 jobs, or 5,000 job years this quarter, 380 million total wages, and about $1 billion in total economic activity. So where do we spend the $588 million? You can see from this slide, the top 4 projects took about 50% of the budget. The top 10 projects, about 70% of the budget. The largest project that we spent money on in the first quarter was LaGuardia redevelopment. And as you see, Newark Terminal 1 is in the top 10 group. That will catch up very quickly as we get into this year. Projects put into beneficial use in the fourth quarter, a wide range, some very small, like the replacement of the ceiling tiles at the Port Authority Bus Terminal, which is part of the Quality of Commute program, up to the toll collection system upgrade at the Lincoln Tunnel, and the LaGuardia Terminal B parking garage, which I mentioned earlier. Last time I gave you an update, which was 2 months ago, I mentioned a series of initiatives that we are starting to put into place. And this is really a bit of a change in the way that we have managed the capital program. And I wanted to just give you a very quick report on the progress we're making. So the slide you see shows 10 of the initiatives that we had launched all in the first quarter, and we're making very steady progress. They fall into the categories of process improvements, contracting improvements, and management improvements. And just to mention, this is a very close cooperation with the engineering department and the various line departments to really dive into the details of how we deliver capital projects. And again, all with the focus of on-time, on-budget delivery. We care about the big ones, we care about the small ones, because the small ones get out of control and we start to really lose momentum in the program. So some of the efforts that we've started this quarter are, I mentioned a lean program that we would put into place. We've launched 4 projects to improve the processes relative to property acquisitions, design drawing approvals, construction, inspection, and commissioning. And we have a small project task force that's been developed really to dive into the problems that we would have on the smaller projects. I would also mention that we started just this month a management program that's very similar to CompStat, where we sit down with each of the line departments and we have a very data-driven discussion about where we are in the projects to make sure that we're identifying problems that appear early, okay? So I will plan to come back to you each quarter and give you a quick update on some of these initiatives so you get a sense of where we're moving with each one of them, okay? With that, I'll take any questions.
Thank you. So a quick takeaway from this is with 429, let's say $430 million of transportation-related expenditures versus the total of 588, at least or approximately 75% of our funds are going to transportation. And as a transportation company, that seems to be a good sign. Did I do that correctly?
That's right, yes.
Excellent. And in terms of the state of good repair, which I think is very, very important, because we do not have the discretionary money we would like to do everything over the next 10 years we would desire. It looks like between the replacement of the suspender ropes, the replacement of the signals at path, several other things, runway 4R, 22L, we are really into the state of good repair for safety, and I think that's excellent. So thank you. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, this concludes today's meeting of the Committee on Capital Planning, Execution, and Asset Management, and I turn it back to you.